If you think elected officials are actually running the show in California, think again. Coming up, I'll reveal how two groups of unelected but powerful people really call the shots in the state of California and what we're doing to fight to change that. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state representative representing District 75 in the state assembly. I've learned a whole lot of things about California politics, most of it not good. You would be appalled by the corruption and bad behavior. It's why California policies and laws are so terrible. They hurt so many people. And it's why people feel that government is not doing its job and that, things are not going to get better. We always say, well, we get a chance to decide what's going on because we get to elect the governor and the state legislature, and they're the ones calling the shots, right? Well, not so much. I'm going to reveal two groups of unelected but powerful people who are really calling the shots and imposing some really bad policies that hurt you while benefiting them or the special interests that they represent. First and foremost, you need to know that while we elect people to the state legislature, and I've seen this up close and personal, the real people who call the shots in Sacramento are not the legislators, it's the lobbyists. Lobbyists have an undue level of influence because they have the money. It's a golden rule. Those that have the gold make the rules. These lobbyists represent usually unions, government union bosses, labor unions, and they represent corporations, business groups. Some of them represent, political advocacy groups that are funded by billionaires who have crazy ideas. But they come to Sacramento. They lobby these elected officials. They lobby the staff. And they, in many cases, not only promise campaign contributions, they say, look, when you need a job, when you're out of office, come work for us. And they tell that to both the politicians as well as the staff. And that's why they have undue influence. A recent report by California Matters, quote, number of registered lobbyists jumps to a record high in California. And what they're spending money on is insane. There are now 3,245 people who are registered as lobbyists for the most recent period of time. Now, mind you, there's only 120 legislators in California. So if you take 3,245 people divided by 120 people, that's more than 27 people. 27 lobbyists for every one lawmaker in California. They're outnumbered. And so you get hundreds of millions of dollars, by the way, spent each and every year on lobbying by various groups. In fact, $420 million was spent in just the first 9 months of 2024, compared to $484 million in all of 2023. So we're talking about half $500 million on lobbyists every year, more than $500 million. That's a lot of money, and it does not account for those campaign contributions. To reform this, I've proposed that California lawmakers be banned for life for ever becoming a lobbyist. I've also proposed that California lawmakers should have to open their books so that the communications they receive, text messages and emails from lobbyists, are public record. Right now, they're exempt from the Public Records Act. And finally, I think there should be a cooling off period for staff so that there's no revolving door of staff becoming lobbyists. And we've seen a number of examples of lawmakers leaving office while actively negotiating employment with lobbyists. For example, former Assemblywoman Loretta Gonzalez was the head of the Appropriation Committee, carried a bunch of pro-labor union legislation as she was negotiating a massive salary for herself to become the state's chief lobbyist for the labor unions in Sacramento. This is corrupt. It needs to end. Second group of people that are unelected but very powerful are the unelected bureaucrats in Sacramento. And let me give you a couple examples of this. And these people are not rational people. These are wingnuts, activists who are put into very powerful positions and make sweeping decisions that impact your life. The decision to raise your electricity rates, the decision to ban natural gas, the decision to impose a flat charge on your utility bill. Those decisions were made not by politicians directly, but by unelected bureaucrats who serve as commissioners on state boards and commissions. The Public Utility Commission of the state of California made all those decisions. They raised your electricity rates. They imposed a flat fee on your bills, your electricity bills, and they're banning natural gas. The 5 members are located on the website at the Public Utilities Commission. We've got Matthew Baker, Karen Douglas, John Reynolds, Darcy Houck, Alice Bushing Reynolds. All 5 of these are appointed by the politicians. All 5 of them are the ones that raised your rates. But you know what's appalling? Not surprising. None of them have a single bit of experience in the utility market. They're all wingnut environmentalists. None of them have utility experience. Alice Bushing Reynolds, here's her bio. What is she? She's a political staffer on Green New Deal policies for Gavin Newsom and Jerry Brown. 0 experience working in utilities. Darcy Houck, she is a lawyer, an environmental lawyer. 0 experience in utilities. She's an advocate for the left on environmental issues. John Reynolds, 0 experience in utilities. Instead, he's a lawyer, an environmental lawyer, and used to be an advisor to a previous wingnut commissioner, political staffer. Karen Douglas, or Douglas Karen, you can't tell which. She, if I may, I don't know, but let's assume Karen, was part of the California Climate Initiative for the Environmental Defense Fund, an environmental activist. Not any experience in utilities. Matthew Baker, no picture. Director of Public Advocate's Office for the government. 0 experience in utilities. I'd like to see one member of the Public Utilities Commission actually have some experience managing and running, an electricity company or a gas company. God forbid we have someone with experience. None of these wingnuts care about your pocketbook, by the way. They're all environmental wackos who want to regulate, which means you pay the price. They don't care about the availability of electricity or the cost of electricity. They care about advancing the Green New Deal, the Greedy New Deal. Another agency, the California Air Resources Board, CARB. Do you know that CARB is the agency that banned gas-powered cars as of 2035 in California? They're the agency trying to ban natural gas appliances in your homes. These wingnuts make the Public Utilities Commissioners look like, balanced and fair people. Let me give you an example of one of these commissioners, Susan Sheehan. Now remember, I just told you that they banned gas-powered cars in California, which is a crazy mandate that is unworkable for the auto industry. Oh, but they have an automotive member. Oh, great. I wonder, did she work for Ford, Chrysler? Did she work for GM? Let's find out. shall we? Oh, she's an environmental advocate. She's a professor. A professor from Berkeley. Her expertise in the automotive industry is she may have ridden in a car once, because I think she's more of a bike lady. Let's go to her LinkedIn profile, shall we? University of California, Berkeley. A professor. Co-director of the Transportation Sustainability Research Center. Director of the Innovative Mobility Research Center, also known as We Want People to Use Bikes. Co-director of the Transportation Sustainable Research Center. Do you see a single automotive company on this list? But Carl, there was once a transportation group that she worked with. It's the Transportation Sustainability Research Center, a left-wing advocacy group that doesn't want cars, they want bikes. Try again, honey. No automotive experience whatsoever. She hates cars. That's why she helped ban the cars, the gas-powered cars. Oh, and let me tell you right now, banning gas-powered cars isn't about having electric cars. These people hate automobiles. They're only about transit and bikes. That's what they've been talking about for years. And they're not going to stop until they destroy the automotive industry and say, oh, gosh, there's no more cars left. Gee, we didn't think that would happen, would we? No automotive experience. And yet she is the so-called automotive member. Yep, nothing more than an ivory tower Berkeley liberal professor. And you wonder why we get bad policy. Now, the reason why I raise this, because I need you, it's almost like your own little civics lesson here on how government works, or more aptly, doesn't work, how government fails you, is that when these wingnuts enact crazy policies like banning gas-powered cars, the politicians hear from the voters saying, oh, how dare you do this? And they say, oh, it wasn't me. It was the California Air Resources Board. I'm not a member of that. But you pass the laws giving these bureaucrats amazingly sweeping powers. If you wanted to overturn their mandate, you could pass a law saying, nope, we're not going to have a flat rate utility charge, or nope, we're not going to ban gas-powered cars. But these politicians delegated the authority to these wingnuts. Also, remember, these positions are Senate confirmed. State senators have to confirm the nominees that the governor appoints to these boards. And in many cases, they get their own appointees to various boards and commissions. So do not let the politicians off the hook. Oh, they can point fingers and say, oh, it was the unelected bureaucrats that did it. Politicians are just doing that to avoid accountability. Lobbyists on one hand, wingnut appointees to powerful boards on the other. These two unelected groups are the real power players in your state government, and it is time to absolutely reform that corrupt system. I believe that no fee or charge should be applied by a board or commission unless it's approved by the legislature. I also believe that no ban on any consumer product or service should go into effect unless it similarly is voted on by the legislature. And I'm carrying legislation on all these points. This is unacceptable. We should not have an unelected cadre of power brokers in your state government imposing bad policies, raising your taxes, banning conveniences. We need to hold politicians accountable. Look, at Reform California, we're exposing the corrupt nature of this system. I can't do the work I'm doing statewide or in the legislature without your support. Go onto our website, reformcalifornia.org. Sign up at the bottom. Here's the form. First name, last name, email, phone, and zip. Just scroll down to the bottom of the website, put in your information so we can keep you informed as we fight bad policies like this, and of course, as we issue our voter guide in each election, because we're recruiting candidates for state office up and down the state of California. Also, chip in a contribution at that site. Put gas in our tank. I know CARB is trying to ban gas tanks, but at least put gas in our political tank to fight these fights for you, to expose the rot and the corruption in your state government. Can't do it without your help. The average contributor gives $67 a year. That's a little over $5 a month. Give whatever you can at reformcalifornia.org. Until next time, I'm Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California and a California State Representative. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.